When our parents used to spank us and say, this is going to hurt me more than it hurts you, we never believed it, but it's true. I think there's an analogy there that God gave his son. There's something that resonates with humanity that God would give his son. But seeing all that she suffered and suffering with her, we can honestly say that we wouldn't undo it if we could. Even as horrific as it's been, 8 months of treatment and chemotherapy and radiation, because of the way that we've discovered more of Christ in it. I mean, I've just found that Christ is present in suffering in the most unique and profound way. As the prophet Isaiah said, you know, God dwells in a high and lofty place and near to the brokenhearted.
You know, I want to talk more about this, but let's take a look at your website. There's a video there, and we've just taken a few segments from it that highlights the story you just told us. Let's take a look.
When that storm comes like a hurricane and the sun seems far away, we will not fear the wind, we will not fear the waves. I can feel your calm within, yeah. When this life is shaken by raging seas, we are not gonna be afraid. So if you walk on waves and wind, hold my hands and I'll walk again. This love is stronger than the blood that beats my heart. This love is deeper.
You can pledge a t-shirt, right?
The pain of
Look
all
at me.
these scars. This love goes farther.
Well, you look wonderful. You know that?
Than answers all.
Yeah, I figured you would.
This love.
All right, so we're all set. Just more last chemo today. First follow-up in May. And then we're cruising after that. Generally after that, we do about every 6 weeks.
Okay.
Follow up with every 3-month scans.
Our sorrows, befriended all our pain, oh, that we might rise again. You stole my sickness, rested in my disease, oh, that I might rest in thee. And you alone bring healing, for you I wait. We are not gonna be afraid. So if you walk on waves and wind, hold my hands and I'll walk again. This love is stronger than the
Perm is no evidence of disease. Okay. Now you can call that remission. I'm happy using that word. And the thing that we want to do is we want to see her in a sustained remission until she's out about 3 years off therapy. At 3 years off therapy, we then declare a cure, because what we see is that the relapse rate, once you get 3 years off therapy, drops pretty much off to 0. Okay? And that's, if your relapse rate is 0, pretty much we call that a cure. Okay?
ever destroyed.
I love you, dear Daisy. I love you,
We are not gonna be afraid, 'cause this love is stronger than the blood that beats my heart. This love is deeper than the pain of all these scars. This love goes farther than the hope and answers arms. This love is stronger, is strong enough for me. Yeah, yeah. Strong, strong.
Daisy, what happened today?
I had no cancer.
No more cancer? It's all done? What are you going to do now?
They have treatments with no flies and unport out. Like they put me to sleep, then they cut a little thing and they pop it out.
That's going to be great. Then where are we going?
To Hawaii.
Yeah.
And in Legoland too.
And I'm going to SeaWorld.
Oh,
True
yeah.
story. And what do you want to say to all the people?
Thanks for praying for me.
How did you manage to preach 2 or 3 days after this diagnosis? I mean, that would have just killed me. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm an emotional. You're emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't watch that thing without weeping even now.
Yeah.
But how did you stand in front of your people 3 days or whatever it was after hearing this diagnosis?
Yeah. Well, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I had a sense from the beginning, my wife and I both, that Christ was going to be glorified through our suffering. And that our suffering was to be a testimony to his goodness.
And at this point, you know, as you preached that sermon, you just had the diagnosis. And as you said a few minutes ago, you're facing the very strong possibility of losing her the day of the operation. Was this like an out-of-body thing? Did you really, in your gut, believe this? That whatever happened, that it was going to be okay with you and God, and that you were going to, with integrity, be able to stand in front of your people and tell them there's meaning in suffering?
Yeah, by grace, you know, by grace.
How by grace?
Did.
What do you mean by grace? How does that work?
I mean that's the kindness of God, that he would allow us to think that way. And I think it was a byproduct of years of saturating myself in the Word of God, knowing his character, his promises, and we truly believe that. We truly believed it.
You know, Britt, over the, I've been in the ministry now for 40 years, and 20 of those years involved church planting and pastoring directly, and then 20 of the years I've been in television. But even as a television broadcaster, I spent a lot of time in hospitals, performing funerals. But time and time again, I'll go into some hospital room where somebody is lying there looking like a wounded bird, often without the strength to lift their head off their pillow.
Right.
And their eyes are alive, even though their voices are subdued, with hope for what they're about to experience. And they will say, "Pastor, I can hardly wait. I'm going to see the Lord."